Okay, here's a key component I think most people are missing as they try to build their business and grow the amount of money that they're making. And here's the caveat to this. One, it's free, but on the other flip side of that, it's extremely difficult to implement. And that right there is delayed gratification. Most people are not implementing this, or they're not actually doing the things that it takes to actually push that delayed gratification to a point where they can start using it for themselves and applying it as they push and pursue to build their business. It's your friend, your coach, and your business partner, Delano Mccrory. Let's get into it.
Alright. Jeez.
Now, I'll be honest, this is something that I'm continuously working on and building up for myself so that way I can improve in this area and make it even more significant and make it even better. Because I'll be honest, I want to start other businesses. I want to spend money on stuff that I want. I want to buy motorcycles. I want to buy cool stuff for work. There's tons of things that I want to do. But the delayed gratification allows you to actually push those things off so that way you can look into the future and look beyond what you want right now to build something that's going to last and build something that's going to actually have a huge impact and allow you to do other freedoms and other things later down the road. But this is a key thing most people aren't even thinking about or aren't even trying to do, because we live in a society that is built basically off of getting things that we want instantly right now. And you can see that from everything we do, from the food that we get to the shopping that we go to using Instacart and different AI tools that get us results in a matter of seconds. Now, necessarily those things aren't bad, but if we don't keep them in check and understand that the process and the length that it takes to get to things, then we become trapped in our own mindset and our own reality of wanting things as they come to us right now instantly, and not having the patience or the skills to wait for the long term to get better results and better outcomes. Now, speed is a crucial part of business in general. So you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be in business, and you want to create things that are faster or better for your clients is great. That's an awesome thing. But as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, you got to realize that it's going to take time, effort, and patience to get to where you want to go and to live the life that you want to have. So that's the main thing that we're focusing on today, is actually building that muscle and that strength and that superpower of delayed gratification and building patience for us waiting to get the results that we want. Now, how is delayed gratification or patience a superpower? Again, like I mentioned before, we live in a society that is very super reactive and we want things instantly. If we are able to delay the amount of time that we can go without wanting something, or the amount of time that we are able to work before we see the results in the outputs that we're putting in, the bigger the reward will be at the end and the bigger our impact and the business that we are able to build. Because if we just want quick cash flow now, we're going to do a lot of things that's going to cause shortcuts and that's going to not allow us to have a better product, but a quicker product is ultimately going to be our downfall, because it may work in the beginning. We may be able to start seeing cash flow. We may be able to see results, but we aren't building a product that's going to last those bumps in the roads, that's going to last the operation systems that we need to produce scale and to actually get our product in front of the masses. So just building that ideal and that concept of having the patience to produce something that's going to be better and that's going to outlast our competition and outlast the instant gratification that we want right now, it's going to be so deadly and so dangerous in the business that is going to actually produce crazy, insane results. Now, I think this is super important when it comes to real estate in general, because real estate is a long game and real estate is a patient game. It takes a lot longer for you to cash flow and get to where you want to be when building your company or building your real estate portfolio. That's going to deter a lot of people who don't have the skill of being patient and waiting for the process to actually hit. It's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take a lot of multiple steps for you to cash flow at the level that you want, and then to make this business a little bit more passive. It's going to take time for you to build your team, build your processes, build your SOPs, and build the things that you need so that way you can actually take more of a passive role in the business, which is great. This is great news because us understanding that as business owners and entrepreneurs is going to exponentially lower the amount of people that are playing this game or that actually want to take the necessary steps to get to that next level. And it's going to cause a lot of people to take shortcuts and do things half-heartedly, which means that you're going to be able to step in, buy those businesses out, buy those people out, acquire those portfolios that people aren't being patient with or playing the long game in general. So it's a superpower in the fact that it gives you an distinct advantage over people who are lazy, who don't want to wait, and who aren't patient at all. It's going to give you a strategic advantage to take over those people's companies, to take over those assets that they're not even trying with, and create them and make them even better for yourself. Now, in this, I've laid out just a couple of things, a couple of mindset things that I want to help you guys create that I'm actively doing so that way you can start implementing these today in your life and give you that muscle of patience and waiting and actually creating a better, higher value patience level for yourself that's going to ultimately help you crush in business in general. All right, so let's jump into it. All right, number one is rethink your operations. Rethink how you're operating on a day-to-day basis, but also rethink how you're operating within your business. Now, I'm not saying that you have to make everything super slow and methodical and you have to just be patient everywhere. Yes, patient and delayed gratification is a skill. But if you are able to make $10 today instead of $100, so that way next year you're making $10,000, is having that skill set and that patience to actually wait. So when you're looking at your operations and you're looking at how you're actually running your life and your business, look at things that you are wasting or not putting enough time and patience into to create a bigger income. For example, I'll give you a quick example. Say, for instance, you're able to invest $100 back into your business and it's going to create 100% return. So at the end of it, you're getting $200 back. Right now, because you're impatient and you're not waiting to pay yourself and wait in the process of you actually getting more money, you're actually killing your business because you're only putting $50 in to get $100 back instead of having the opportunity to delay your gratification or paying yourself now to get that $200 back. That is a process where you can look at it and revamp and renegotiate and change just that small process to get bigger returns on your actual business. So what does your operations look like now? What are you doing right now that you're pulling more money out to give yourself a lifestyle or a raise that you may not necessarily need to put back into business to give you greater returns in the long run? So look at your operations, look at your day-to-day life. What are you doing that's taking out energy and time from your business that you can put back in to delay that gratification? Now, this one's a little bit more tricky, but like actually splurging and buying yourself stuff. Look at that and reevaluate where you're spending money. For example, let's say, for instance, you are itching to buy something super cool for yourself or reward yourself for something that you've done in your business or just a life achievement in general. Is there a different way where you can maybe go a cheaper route of getting something? For example, say, for instance, you really want to treat yourself to a golfing event or splurge on golf set. Is there a way that you can get that golf set for maybe cheaper or a lesser value than the one that you want to buy? For example, can you still use the same golf set that you're using now? Can you maybe go play at a cheaper course than maybe going to Florida and playing at Diamondback or one of the bigger courses? Look at what you're doing and the choices that you're making now on a day-to-day level to say, hey, if I'm going to treat myself, let me do it in a way that isn't taking away from my business, my operations, my funds, and doing it on a lower level. For example, is there what trip you want to take? Is there a possibility of it being a free trip, or are you just doing a slight road trip for that weekend to save that money and to delay that gratification for a later event? Now, I'm not saying trips or splurging are bad necessarily, but sometimes we can look at our options and the things that we're doing now to make a bigger impact later down the road. To take those smaller chunks and those smaller decisions today to make bigger impacts tomorrow. I'm pretty sure if all of us said, hey, if you didn't take a trip this year, you're able to take a trip overseas or take a bigger trip next year, most of us would be like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll definitely do that. It's the same thing that works here. Are we able to make those smaller choices today that's going to impact for bigger and better choices tomorrow? And I know this sounds super boring and it sounds super tough to actually do, but if you start implementing it and you start making those small changes today, the impact that it's going to have later is going to be astronomical. Now, number 3 is be more productive. Chances are, if you look at how much you're working or how much you're doing now for your business and for your actual company, chances are you can push just a little bit more. And again, taking those small breaks may seem like they're necessary now or may seem like they're super important now, but ultimately they add up. So for example, if you were to go eat out every day at work or every lunch period, and you were to eat out at your favorite restaurant or your favorite lunch spot, over time, those meals will add up. Versus if you go once a month or once every 2 months. You're able to take that change or take whatever that is and add it to something that's going to ultimately excel you in your process. For example, you might get a couple minutes back because you're not traveling as much. You might get a couple of dollars back to add to some other project or something else that you may need. They look like super small decisions and they look like they don't add up, but in the end, they really do. And you're able to put that time and that energy and that money back into your business to exponentially grow it even faster and get a bigger outcome for the end or for the next year or next couple of months. Whatever your time rising is or your timeline is, reevaluate it and look at how can you cut those small things out that you necessarily don't need to do or don't want to do to make bigger impacts for later down the road. Do these for a short amount of time, and it's not forever. This is just small incremental things that you can do to boost next year or the year after that to make it even better and make larger impacts. And then after you do that and you see the return and you see the advantages that it takes, then you're able to do bigger trips, do bigger things, eat at bigger and better, fancier restaurants. But in the long run, if you build these habits, you might not even want to do that later on. You might find that you enjoy the process of delaying that gratification and being more patient to actually make bigger outcomes. Did you change your whole motive and your whole motive in general? So think about that. Okay, number 4 is revisit your goals. Chances are, in some cases, your goal is either too short or not long enough. And just by adjusting how you look at your goals and how you structure them can either get you there faster or help you produce systems and checks and balances that's going to get your business even more effective and even more efficient. And realizing that you can fix or narrow down some things in your goals and push it out just a little bit further to actually get better impact and better dialing in on your actual mission and the things that you want to create and build is going to be so crucial. Just by adding a couple extra months or a couple extra weeks to your timeline can ultimately just change everything about how you're doing and what your team is looking forward to. Sometimes you put a lot of pressure or a lot of speed on our teams or even just too much responsibility in general. One of the things that Logan Ricken says that I love a lot and I implement it into my business is that people can really only focus on 2 to 3 metrics at a time. So by just pushing it out a little bit more and giving them more leeway and building your team in a different dynamic can help you actually reach your goals and begin to use that superpower of delayed gratification to make it even better. So I would challenge you to look at your goals specifically and see if they're too short or maybe sometimes they're even too long and you might be able to condense it and change a couple of things so that way you can narrow it down and actually get it more productive and even faster at you actually achieving it. Now, number 5 is a hack that I talk about a lot of time, but getting around people that are going and doing what you want to do. Now, if you're trying to be more patient or you're trying to do delayed gratification, start getting around people that are waiting just a little bit longer or that's working just a little bit longer to achieve their goals. And you're going to, by proximity, start implementing that into your workflow and into your business in general. So start getting around people that don't have the fancy cars or that aren't taking super long trips, but they're focusing, they're dialing in a little bit longer. They're spending a little bit more time making more cold calls. They're pushing that delayed gratification out and being more patient, but also being super diligent with their business is going to help you so much. And I'll give you an example of this. At my job, we work in pretty much close proximity with the other people that we're around, and we see them a lot. And I noticed that I wanted to start buying more stuff and I wanted to actually start spending more money, but I couldn't figure out why until I actually started looking at my surroundings. The people I was hanging out with work were spending a lot of money. They were going out to eat. They were buying stuff that they necessarily didn't need. So in retrospect, I started wanting to do more of that. And so I had to check myself and I had to make sure that I'm not slipping into that category because of the people that I'm hanging around. Same thing goes for you. Look at the people that you're hanging around and look at the actions and the things that you're doing and begin to change that and begin to work towards actually being more patient and hanging around people that actually want to go where you're going and have similar goals. Now, I'm not telling you to kick out every single person that isn't doing the things that you want to do or isn't achieving at a high level that you're trying to achieve at. But I am telling you to be more conscious and be more aware of the actions that the people you are hanging around with are being, so that way you don't fall into it, but then ultimately you can start doing the good things that they're doing as well. Guys, that is it. That is all 5 for today, and that's kind of the message that I want you guys to do. Go back, start looking at your life, seeing where you can be more patient, where you can delay the instant gratification, and actually start building that muscle. But not just to build it, but start implementing it in your business and in your daily routine so that way you can start getting to the next level. These are all the things that I'm doing and I'm implementing in my business. So I want to see you guys succeed. Now, if there's anything I left out or anything that you guys want to add, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. I read all the comments. I communicate in the comment section with you guys. So go ahead and drop it in there and share this video with a friend or a business partner or someone you're looking to grow with, so that way we can start building better futures today. And as always, let's get to work.